Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Yes, so this is a concrete stamp video. Just from the intro you can see how amazing we did on this property. So this square meter here is about 251 square meter. We ended up using about 120 to 130 bags of cement. Remember, the kind of cement that we use to do our work is 42.5. So if you have same size as this property here, that is 251 square meter, we use one trip of stones, one trip of sand, 120 to 130 bags depending, we use 42.5. So this is how the compound looked like before we did our work. Those of you that are intended to do stamped concrete, I will give you a little bit of advice. After you are done with your filling, clearing of the compound, doing your filling, do your landscape before. You understand? Do the landscape before. All the places you want to do greens, do the landscape before. Don't do the concrete before you go and do the landscape. It doesn't make the work neat. If you want your landscape to be very neat, do it before, so that when the concrete comes in, everything with a slope will be very done. Very, very nice. From this property, you can see the place the client wanted the greens. They've already done the block work there already. With that, you get your slope perfect. Then you do your concrete work. So simple. Also, one thing that I'll tell most of you people is, those of you that want to do concrete stamp, if you do concrete stamp, any color that you want, you can get it. That is the color pigment. If you want blue, yellow, brown, orange, any color, we have the color. Gray color is a mixture of black and white cement. So this particular property here, we went for the black and white combination. The actual gray, as in gray, that color is not there. So normally what we do is we mix the white cement and the black pigment. That is what we call as natural color. The natural color, any kind of paint that you are going to finish on the building, is use it. You understand? Look at this property here. The color of graffiato, it matches the whole thing. Just from the intro, you can tell how the whole thing ended. So that is what we call the natural color. So if you don't want loud colors on your compound floor, you go for the natural color. It is not paint. It is not paint. You can choose to do painting after we are done with our concrete. You can make your painter to come and use paint to paint the concrete for you, but it is not advisable. The early stages is very nice, but with time it starts to peel, which is very bad. When it's going bad, it's very, very ugly. So it is not advisable. Any color that you want, you can get it from the color pigment. Any colored. Some people are there, after we are done and we are doing the polishing, if they went for maybe yellow color, they will let us add a little bit of the color to the varnish, then use it to polish it again. That one, it becomes very, the yellow shows very loud. So that is one thing. So if you've seen some concretes anywhere and they've done the finishing or the polishing with paint, it is very bad. Any color you want, you can get it. The whole color pigment is done. Just watch the video to the end, you'll see it is done before we even do the stamping on it. So after we put the release agent and do the stamping, during the washing and polishing stage, the varnish is the one that is going to bring out the color you went for. But if you want the color to be very loud, then you can let us add some of the color to the varnish, then do the polishing. So simple. So no one should, think about going for paint to, paint the whole compound. It's a compound, it's the floor. A whole lot is going to happen, so you can imagine. Also, it is 45 cedis per square meter. That is why from the very first video on concrete stamp, I made it clear, which was about 4 to 5 months ago. I made it very clear. It is 45 cedis. Some people are even charging 50 to 55 cedis per square meter, but we are still keeping the 45 cedis for anybody that comes from the channel. You understand? So 45 cedis per square meter. The total square meter of your compound is what we can use to do your invoice for you. If you don't have, or if you don't know your total square meter, we would have to go to the site. If your site is in Accra, site visit is 300 cedis. 300 cedis. If it is outside Accra too, you get to know the price the moment you let me know. So that is the simple stages that we pass through to get the concrete work done. Once the concrete work is done, 2 weeks after, then we come and do the washing and polishing for you. So some of you, when I'm doing the invoice for you, or when you receive your invoice, you get to see the whole stamping materials, including the varnish and thinner. Varnish and thinner is what we use to do the wash and polish. So the wash and polish simply means after the 2 weeks, we'll come and do the washing of the concrete, whereby we'll use the brush and water to do a very detailed washing on the concrete. Then after, we'll mix the varnish and the thinner and do the polishing on the concrete. That is done after 2 weeks. So if your budget doesn't help you to purchase the varnish at the early stages, you can put that aside. After the 2 weeks, then you can buy it, because the varnish is very expensive. It is very, very expensive. A gallon is about 2,600. Each gallon covers about 100 square meter. So if your compound is 200, you're going to need 2 gallons. It's over 300. You're going to need 3 gallons, which is 2,600 Ghana cedis per gallon. You are using the Permafix, very quality product. So if you are not ready to purchase, or if your budget doesn't allow you to get it at the early stages, after 2 weeks you can purchase it. So that is what we use to do the wash and polish. During the wash and polish, we charge the workmanship for the wash and polish 850 Ghana cedis per gallon. So if your varnish has about 4 gallons, 850 times 4, it goes on like that. So simple. So that is what we do to get a whole stamping or concrete stamp done. It is not cheap, but as compared to tiles, it is okay. You understand? Yes, because if you are going to do tiles, depending on your preference, I always say this: if you want to do tiles 100%, go in for the compound tiles, never go to amazing tiles. You get the work done. You understand? If you want to do pavement blocks too, one thing about pavement blocks is when you do pavement blocks, you can't apply varnish on it because of the quarry dust. It's in between them, so you can't. The quarry dust is the one that is, keeping the whole pavement blocks together. So you can't apply varnish on it. Since you can't apply varnish on it, that means there are going to be moles on them. With time, when there is rain over time, pouring of water on one particular side, maybe the air conditioning machine, the outer part is bringing in the water, the moles are going to grow. You understand? Just because you can apply varnish on it, so there is going to be a serious problem. That is one thing about pavement blocks. Aside that, it is okay, but you can apply varnish on it. Very good. If you are going to use the already made concrete that they are selling on the roadside or by the roadside, that one too, somehow when they are done with the installation, you can apply varnish on it. I know it's not common, people don't do it, but from the research or the small search that I've done, we can apply varnish on it. You understand? But just that for that one, you see, it's already made. Then you go and buy it. You don't even know the quantity of cement that goes into it, so you don't know how quality that thing is. That is the situation here. So these are some of the few things when it comes to compound. It's expensive, very expensive. Finishing the compound alone, but it will transform the house regardless, and that is what you are going to live with. If you are investing in the property, invest very well at the right place. So that is the small thing I'll also tell you guys about compound. So from this property, the client wanted a gray color, like typical gray, but as I said earlier, when we don't have the gray, so normally we mix the white cement and black pigment. Aside the gray, any color that you want, you can have the is available. We have red, we have blue, anything, any color. As long as some is on the market, you have it. But what they don't do is gray, as in typical gray. So normally we mix the black pigments and white cement. That is how come at least we can get something close to it. And we have named it the natural color because that color, any finishing painting you are going to use for the building, it will suit it amazing. Yes, so that is how the whole thing went. Remember, polishing or wash and polish is done 2 weeks after the concrete is done. When you get your concrete done, make sure the first 5 to 6 days there is no vehicle on the compound. 5 to 6 days, no vehicle. The first 1, 2, 3 days too, if it rains, there is a problem. The color is going to wash away. You understand? And also during the whole work ongoing, and if it rains, the previous video on concrete, I told you it rained and it made the work very difficult for us. But if it don't rain, everything goes on smooth. The work will be done amazing. Yes. Duration of the work is 3 days. The very day that we leave the site, you have to make sure either your caretaker, your foreman, anybody on the property, you have to caution them very well. You don't have to pour water anywhere. You don't have to let any poly tank overflow so that the water is going to move on it. It is going to wash the color away. We are done with the work. It's not dried. That very day, if we leave the site and there's any kind of water that comes on the compound, it is going to wash the color away. And if it happens like that, it becomes a problem. The actual concrete color is going to show, which will make the thing very bad, very ugly. So you have to be very careful. It needs a lot of attention. That is why you have to know how to handle your thing. This is how, when you do the varnishing, it looks like, you see. So you can compare with the varnish and without the varnish. You can see the difference. You understand? So when you do varnishing, as I said earlier on, it protects the concrete in so many ways. The last time someone was telling me he did his concrete, and when it rains, there are droplets everywhere. My sister, my brother, applying the varnish on your concrete is good. When it rains and after the rainfall, you see the droplets on the compound. That should tell you your compound is dirty. Just wash it. Maybe once in 2 weeks, pressure wash your compound. Simple as that. The varnish works the same way as your vehicle will do. If your vehicle is dirty and it rains on it, you see how the whole print is left. That is how your compound will also look like. If your compound is dirty and it rains, after the rain is done, the whole compound is going to have that print on it. It's nothing. It's not that the varnish is bad or anything. It's just that your compound is dirty. So you just have to go and sweep your compound or wash your compound. Simple as that. If your compound is not dirty, the moment it rains and later the rain is done, the sun brights, that's all, you still get your beautiful compound. Simple as that. Simple as that. Those of you that were also asking, why don't we put mesh or rebars under the concrete? For residential use, rebars are not necessary. For commercial use, it's 100% important. You understand? Regardless, if the client wants us to use rebars, that's additional cost. That means the client would have to get a steel bender to come and do all the rebars, then we'll come and cast the concrete. That is how that one also works. But for commercial use, hotels, restaurants, any kind of filling stations, we use rebars to do the concrete stamp. It is very important. But for your home, it's not that much needed. If you want us to use rebars, that is what I said. You get a steel bender to come and do all that work, then we come in to do the concrete for you. Simple as that. So that is how we were able to create this magic. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next update. If you need any concrete work to be done, that is the number in the video. Thank you. Catch you in the next updates. Bye bye.